Valentine's Day, and we're not trying to put a damper on your holiday, but let's be honest here. Valentine's Day can be very sensitive, especially if your marriage is on the rocks. If it appears that divorce may be imminent, my next guest has a few things that you need to know. Divorce attorney Deanne Arthur is here with us this morning. Thank you for coming in. We do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
This is one of those days that either highlights the romance you have in your life or highlights the fact that there is a lack of romance and big problem in your relationship, sadly. Let's talk about what folks need to know in case the marriage, unfortunately, is just heading in the D direction, the divorce direction. Things are changing with the president's new tax plan.
Yes, they are. Right now, the tax bill, the way it was, is that the supporting spouse was able to get a tax write-off for alimony, meaning that he could deduct that from his gross pay. And the supported spouse didn't have to pay taxes. Now it's flip-flopping. I'm assuming the rationale behind it is because you're going to get more tax money from the higher-earning spouse. There's a lot of problems behind that, which I think that's probably not going to be a win for either party. In divorce cases, you rarely walk out like Tina Turner, happy to be divorced. It's always a give and take. So in this situation, the negotiating power has been with the taxes. So you want to help the supporting spouse, the spouse paying alimony, to feel good about it. You have something come out of it to say, hey, you'll get a tax write-off. Now they're not going to have that.
Now they're not going to. Okay, so let's just sort of paint the picture for people who are not following us very clearly here, in case this may affect you. Let's say the husband owes the ex-wife $500 a month, or whatever the amount of money may be, in alimony. He was able to pay that money in pre-tax dollars.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so, and now this will change, where he will now pay the money out of the net paycheck, basically.
Yes, and so what will happen is the wife or the supported spouse in that scenario will actually probably get less once we negotiate, because he'll say, hey, I can't afford to pay that much and taxes. So
does that mean he has to go back in front of a judge now and say, listen, the tax laws have changed, I can't afford this, can you please renegotiate this? Like, will you be out divorce attorney fees again?
Not necessarily, because a lot of times these happen kind of behind closed doors.
Okay.
A lot of negotiations happens outside of court. With divorce court, the court tries to keep hands off unless they're needed. So we try to do as much as we can before we have to set a trial date or need court intervention. But a lot of times, if parties are reasonable, they can come back to the table and say, hey, I talked about alimony at this amount, but I realize I can't afford it. And then maybe they can come back to the table and renegotiate. Worst case scenario, have to go back in before a judge and say, hey, I need help.
Okay, so a couple of different things are happening here. Now, do people need to have their divorce final in 2018 before these new tax laws take effect in 2019, or just filed in 2018?
Filed in 2018. Divorces can take years, and I think that it would open a huge can of worms if it was supposed to be finalized. California has a 6-month waiting period, and then there would be the issues of prenups and people wanting to go back. So I think the easiest thing to do is have it filed before 2019.
Okay, there we go. All right, let's also talk about, this is kind of interesting here, because we've been mentioning all morning long that a lot of people may be heading down to the county courthouse to tie the knot on Valentine's Day. It's a romantic and special day.
Sure.
There are some studies out there that say this may be a bad idea. Why?
Apparently, it's not as romantic as it sounds. I think that it comes back to spontaneity. So, these couples are spontaneous in getting married on Valentine's Day, but that spontaneity doesn't carry through in the marriage, and it tends to divorce sooner than couples that thought it through.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, I think the study here in front of me says that if you get married on Valentine's Day, friends, you are 37% more likely to get divorced. Hate to be the one to break it to you, but that's just what this particular study said. Okay. Deanne Arthur, if people have some more questions for you, where can they go to find you?
darthurlaw.com. My phone number is 619-564-8386. But again, probably the best way is darthurlaw.com.
The plug was real.